Yo, 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 what is up, everyone? It is your main man, Mizzix, coming at you with another one. And today I wanted to talk about Halo Infinite. So, Halo, or 343 rather, announced that Halo Infinite will not launch with co op campaign or Forge mode, which is a little depressing because personally I'm kind of a fan of the co op campaign. I remember my first game playing like ever was Halo Combat Evolved. I was like 4 years old, could barely hold the big ass Xbox controller, and I was playing like co-op with like my neighbor's son or whatever. I guess he'd be just like my neighbor, but like he was their son, and you know, it was a good time. I remember that, and that's mainly nostalgia. I know I had a couple friends who were really looking forward to playing like the co-op campaign, and that's like their main thing, but most people I don't think are like grinding the campaign out or nothing like that. Most people really will replay the multiplayer over and over again. I think most people might play the campaign like once and then they'll for like the story, and then they'll do like a legendary run through where they try and do like all the legendary challenges and get like the I think that's how you got like the Hayabusa, or maybe you got the security from doing, the legendary run or whatever, and you do all the Vidmaster challenges to get the katana. I remember that, but I don't think most people are really playing the campaign over and over again like that, especially not in co-op mode. But they said it's going to be about a 3 month delay from after the game comes out, which still doesn't have an official launch date. So it's a little bit, sad to hear. But I mean, I could understand that. It's a lot different than any other Halo game, which is a lot more linear. And, it's kind of like you're just playing the game, but it's like you're on rails and you just keep going forward. Unlike this, it's a non linear open world game. So I could understand how do you make a save point, right? Like, do I just, if one guy shows up to the shop, you just save exactly where the other guy's at? And, like, if your buddy's, like, about to get his head blown off, does he just saved right there and now he's just screwed because every time you revert back to that save, he just gets his head blown off? I mean, that's a problem you have to solve, right? I mean, 3 months seems like a reasonable amount of time from them to launch the main campaign to then come up with all those solutions for those types of things. I don't know if there's going to be any shops, but, that was just an example. So I mean, that seems reasonable. I mean, it's not like a absolute, necessity for the game to succeed to instantly just be able to play the campaign with your friends, because I think most people will just play it once, if anything, and then they'll do like a legendary run through to do all the challenges and that sort of thing, and maybe they'll play it a third time if they mess up the challenge or whatever. But I mean, I don't think it's that necessary for the success of Halo Infinite. It's just kind of like a nostalgia thing. I think most people growing up remember playing Halo like split screen with their friends, co-op, or maybe even over Xbox Live co-op if you were big balling back in the day. But it'll just kind of be a nostalgia thing that isn't there at first, which I think will be all right, because then they say it'll take about 3 months to get added to it. So that's, I mean, fair enough. The big part that I'm really skeptical about is they said Forge mode won't come out for about 6 months after the launch. So that's a lot more like a hold on, you guys maybe not you. I think they should delay the game if they can't get even like a limited Forge mode, because Forge mode really multiplies the length of the game, because unless these maps are all like perfect and they're just like the best maps ever, right? I think that's going to be a huge problem, because I mean, they're probably not going to remake every map, right? And with Forge mode, you're able to just remake every map, right? Like, if there's not the pit, you can make the pit. Even if there's like something wrong with one of their maps, you can just have someone come into Forge real quick and fix it real quick. Which is why I think they should come out with like a limited Forge mode where even if you can't do like all the things they really wanted, then you can just kind of do like a few things, maybe to fix up the maps a little bit or make a couple small maps, right? Which is why I'm kind of like, how are they not? I mean, I understand. So basically, they want to have like super high quality stuff because the game's been delayed for a year now. Then they're delaying features instead of delaying the game. Which, I mean, I can understand just shipping a base game and then a couple weeks later you're like, okay, here's Forge mode, and here's some tools to really make the game whatever you want without us even having to do anything. So that like, let's say the competitive scene, right? Obviously, esports I'm sure there's some things that won't really jive with them, right? Like there's some stuff that's overpowered and it just doesn't really have a place in the esports scene, and they're going to need to modify the maps a little bit if they're going to change some of the rules a little bit too, right? And without Forge mode, I mean, what are they going to do for 6 months? I mean, they're just, yeah, they're going to play on a map that doesn't really work with their rules. And I mean, ever since Halo 3 when Forge came out, they've forged new maps to play on for the competitive scene. So I mean, the competitive scene at the very minimum is going to get delayed by 6 months, obviously, or if it could be longer, it could be shorter. Maybe they rush it out or whatever. But I mean, I'm one of my favorite things is custom games. Sorry, so someone comes up with some crazy game where you drive in a circle and there's a sniper in the middle, called Halo. I call it Halo on Halo just so people know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, Infection was just a custom game to start. Obviously, there's Splatter Monkey. I mean, all these great games. Even Fat Kid too. That's I was just getting pretty heated playing Fat Kid a couple hours ago. So maybe I'm not super cool with Fat Kid right now. But I mean, the casual scene really, the pinnacle of that is custom games. I remember like back in the day, there was no way to find anyone, so everyone's just like inviting everyone they know to play, so you can get like a big lobby of a bunch of people playing Infected because it wasn't on the matchmaking. And now obviously like Infected will probably be in the matchmaking, and what have you. They'll probably have other casual games. I mean, I forgot about Griffball. Griffball was just a custom game too. And then eventually they added it because Griffball was a huge success. And every game that comes out, there's another, revolution in custom games where there's just a game mode that like no one ever thought about. And so, I mean, to really maximize the life of the game, there needs to be a Forge mode right when the game launches so that if there's something people don't like, people can just fix it, right? They don't need to wait for the developer to come along and grace them with their blessing and think it's a good idea. They can just do it themselves. So it's absolutely necessary. It really multiplies the length of the game if there can be like some customization that goes on. I'm big into competitive. I just kind of got smacked because I haven't played in a couple months. But I really love playing competitive, and it's absolutely necessary for that. And then I also love getting on custom games and getting super toxic with everyone, about pretty much everything that there is to be toxic about. I'm not going to say it on here because then they're going to take down my channel, but I think you know what I mean, especially if you were around in like 2009, 2008. Those were some good times. Have very fond memories about it. Now, everything's getting all PC, so you can't really do that anymore without people getting all butthurt. But I mean, I think the Forge mode is the huge thing. It's one thing if it takes them 3 months to do Forge mode, but 6 months? I mean, that's half a year of people just playing on these 343 maps. And if these maps are like not the best maps ever, then I mean, the game's going to see a drastic decline in the player base. Because not only the custom games, but I'm sure because some of the maps aren't going to be the best maps. So maybe it launches with like 8 normal multiplayer maps, and let's say like 3 of them are just garbage and 2 of them aren't very good, then you're messed with like, 3 real good maps that you're just playing over and over and over again, and people are going to get tired of it. And what Forge mode would do is obviously let you come up with your own map. So, I mean, I think 343 at the very least needs to come out with some sort of limited Forge mode. That way they can at least modify maps a little bit. Maybe if like there's a hallway that's like overpowered and everyone's just camping the hallway, you block off the hallway, now everyone has to walk around or whatever. So I know they want the Forge mode to be like stellar, and they want to have a really high quality for the bar of game that they're releasing. And I think if they release the game, it needs to come with the Forge mode because it's never going to be perfect, but Forge mode will allow the community to pick up some slack while they're working on it, right? So, man, I'm still excited for it, but I just really hope they can do something about Forge mode. Maybe launch like a limited one. That's what I think 343 would do. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, please hit me with a like and subscribe. Check out the videos that are on screen now.